Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Urban Legends video. I thought I would make an interesting entry into my Urban Legends video, this time not really focusing on one item per se, but rather talking about an entire topic. And the main reason is because I found this very fascinating article from Vice.com, which I've included a link below in the section portion of my YouTube video here, that talks about an industry that's pretty much taken on a life of its own on eBay. And it has to do with something that started it all, the Dybbuk Box, which I'll talk about as my next Urban Legends video, so be on the lookout for that soon. And this one has pretty much started an industry on its own, where as of now, especially in the United Kingdom, there's a huge demand for haunted dolls. I've talked about haunted dolls in the past. I mean, they've been some of my more popular videos here. Check those out too when you have a chance. A lot of people seem to be coming into my Urban Legends YouTube channel here from those haunted dolls videos, so there's definitely demand for it. But in this case, the demand I'm talking about is actively trying to own and sell the haunted dolls themselves on eBay. Very fascinating. Who knew that there was a world for this existing right now at this moment? And so I'm going to sum up essentially what the article at Vice.com states, like why people are doing this, how people are doing this, what the world is like, essentially, because it's all very, very fascinating. It's a good read. And so for starters, again, this all started with the Dybbuk Box, which was something that came out, I believe it was in 2004 on eBay. You'll see a picture of it here. Again, I'm going to do a more detailed video on the Dybbuk Box later on, but I'll just give a brief summation here. The Dybbuk Box was sold by a guy on eBay, and he gave it with a fair warning that it had a Dybbuk with inside it, which is essentially like a malevolent spirit of some sort, something that is a restless, malicious spirit that can haunt or even possess the living. Well, lo and behold, the person that bought the Dybbuk Box off of eBay, they in turn experienced exactly what the seller was claiming, and so that particular buyer later on sold it on eBay again. It went into another owner's possession. They also experienced the same misfortunes, and then I believe it continued a third and a fourth time. And then that's when, as of right now, it's in its own state somewhere. According to the latest whereabouts, it's buried somewhere in some special location to ensure that whatever this Dybbuk is does not come out anymore. So fascinating was this story, and so viral that it became, that it actually turned into a movie called The Possession. It's a pretty good movie. I checked it out when it came out a couple of years back. I saw it on home video, and in this case it was a movie that caught me by surprise how well it was. If you haven't seen it, check it out when you have a chance. But all of that I'm talking about here because once this thing sold several times on eBay and it sold for a very good price, lo and behold, all of a sudden a market exploded when it came to others also selling these quote-unquote haunted dolls. By the way, you're looking at pictures right now of what are purported to be haunted dolls that are actively sold on eBay. Again, it's a wholly fascinating world. The idea that somebody, as a seller, has these in the first place, and then someone else, as a buyer, is actively looking to do this. Now, I'll put the caveat up front, though, because obviously the one thing, the big red flag that everyone, as let's say that's not into this world, can automatically see is how easy is it to just take a 99-cent doll, something that you found at Goodwill or somewhere that you found discarded on the street, put on eBay, guess what folks, this is haunted, and then sell it for $500. Is this not so easy to, I guess, entrap people and trick people into thinking that this is the real deal? Obviously yes. No doubt that there are people out there on eBay that are selling just little trinkets, little dolls. Obviously they're not haunted, but they're making people believe that they're haunted for the sole purpose of being able to pocket some good cash. So much so that there's actually a link, like a guide that's on eBay, especially on the UK website. You'll see a picture of it here, and it's called A Common Sense Guide to Buying and Selling Haunted Items. And one of the items they discuss is being able to research the actual seller of the haunted doll, and then also, use your own insight, use your own common sense when it comes to these things. But otherwise, the Vice.com article, whenever it began talking to the buyers and interviewing especially some of the sellers, it seems like in actuality most of the people in this world that go into this field, the buyers or the sellers, they are legitimate. Like, they actually believe they either A, have haunted dolls to sell, or B, they're buying haunted dolls. And it was quite fascinating to see this, because you would think that there would be a lot of skepticism in this world, but no. This particular trade, whatever this is in terms of haunted dolls, these people believe it and they actively look for it. So much so that these dolls, they're considered in eBay's everything else section. Even right now, go to eBay, type in haunted dolls, and then you'll see a whole listing of them. I just tested it out a couple of minutes back, and you'll see one after the other what are purported to be haunted dolls. Now, how this comes about and how people come about, like, let's say, owning these haunted dolls, apparently the most common reason, and you'll see a picture of it here, has to do with the fact that there's people that possess, and not like possess like in demon term, but possess, like own, these dolls in mass. And the reason for it is either A, they buy an estate, and let's say it's a house, and let's say inside the house they find 15 dolls, and then let's say there are rumors or there have been stories told about that house having hauntings. Well, it's not too hard to try to link the hauntings and say, because this doll was in the house, now this doll is also haunted. Loose, not very strict when it comes to that association, but it's there. I can see it. But that's no different than saying like the stapler is haunted that was in the house, or anything involving the printer that was within the house is also haunted. It's only the fact, of course, that dolls are much more fascinating to talk about. That's why those are sold. So those are actually the sellers. That's how they go about. In fact, there's a lady that you'll see here, Nancy Oyola. She owns an Etsy page, and she lists over 300 of the dolls. In fact, most of these pictures you're looking at now, they're from her collection. And the reason she has this is because she said her late grandmother, when she died, she received the estate, and the estate involved her collection of all these dolls. And then she said that as she was growing up, there was all these paranormal experiences that always happened within the house, and then apparently within the dolls themselves. And so she does this to try to, I guess, place them into another home, and then maybe pocket a little cash as well. Others come into possession of these dolls by people getting rid of them, such as the example with the Dybbuk Box. People that want to get rid of something they feel, maybe they got into ownership of it by accident. They don't like the experiences that are happening, and so they actively try to get rid of it by selling it to someone else. That's how these things happen. Now, as far as the sellers and how they go about getting into this world, it was really interesting to learn. These people are actively looking for these dolls because not only are they fascinated by them, but most of them believe that these dolls are haunted by children. And so they want to find a home for these children and take care of these children through the possession of the doll themselves. As crazy as it sounds, I guess it kind of makes sense. If these dolls are truly possessed, especially by a child, then this child is trying to find a home and trying to find a place where it can, I guess, live the rest of his existence in tranquility. And apparently the biggest buyers of these dolls are people that for whatever reason cannot have children, either physically, like they can't have children, or through other reasons altogether. And so because of it, they decide that they're going to have a child spiritually, and then they can take care of that child, in this case being through a doll, by making sure that it lives and has, I guess, the best things possible in its new home. Fascinating stuff. In fact, you'll see a picture of this other person here. Jane Harris is her name. She has a Facebook page where she actively sells or brokers anything involving dolls that are geared just for that purpose. And it's interesting to see. She sells apparently about one doll a week, and her reputation within the community involving these haunted dolls is so good that people come to her to actively sell or try to make sure that they can possess these dolls altogether. And she does this, I don't know if she does this full time, if she does this as career or whatever, but it is indeed her passion. This is what she does. I took a cursory glance through her Facebook page, and it looks like she even has like a mirror that she was selling at some point, which was claiming like to be a portable. And then there was another instance where another post showed a doll where she was trying to say, let's all have like a communion through the doll, like a meeting through the doll, and that way we can communicate through the doll together, kind of like an arranged meeting of some sort. Quite fascinating, all this stuff. So again, that's one reason. The other reason is some people are truly into this because they want to experience this. That's more considered on the dangerous side, because that guy that I was just mentioning earlier from eBay says, and then also that lady Jane Harris also states this too. Anything involving this world, anybody that comes for that purpose, they have no idea what they could unleash. Anything as far as the doll itself, it could indeed be a child trapped in the doll, or it could be something else altogether far more malicious. And when that happens, it can definitely move from the doll into something else, i.e. the people themselves. And so they both advise to make sure that if you're doing that just for the thrill of it, just to have something that you can say, hey, it's haunted, want to come over, get a group of people, try to make it do tricks, that kind of thing, then that is a very, very bad thing to do. But yeah, very, very interesting article. Check it out when you have a chance. Again, I've included the link below on Vice.com. All in all, of course, as I mentioned at the very beginning, there's that giant red flag. I mean, take a look at this picture here. This was a doll that sold on eBay for $1,526. Obviously, you can see why there's a huge, absolutely gigantic trade involving this, because this doll, who knows, could have bought it for a penny at some store somewhere. Now it's selling for thousands of dollars, in this case over $1,000, and all you have to do is just make up one simple thing, like on the bottom, like on the description, where it's talking about the doll being possessed by some sexually sadistic demon, and it goes on with a tale about the children's ward at Penhurst Asylum. It all has to do with that big red flag where, and the article on eBay too says sometimes you can be sold a dud, and there's nothing you can do about it, because eBay will not honor anything involving, let's say, failure of services rendered when you're dealing with a haunted doll. How do you prove it? How do you do that? It's a lot different than buying a laptop that doesn't start on. In this case, how do you do it with a doll itself that's supposed to be haunted? There's no way to do it. So anything involving that world, obviously there's those huge red flags to talk about. But pushing that aside, and again finding within the article the belief that these people have that they're doing good, like the people that are the buyers in particularly are making sure that the children, they're trying to save them, and then the sellers are finding these buyers as well for that particular purpose. That's the fascinating part that I found throughout all of this. So alright everybody, again, check out the Dybbuk Box. I'm going to be doing a video of it pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. I think it was a suggestion a couple of videos back, if I recall correctly, so that's going to be another way to knock out one of your suggestions too. Alright everybody, take care.